What's up, my people? Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, or good night, whatever time it happens to be for you. Just wanted to make a real quick video. I'm feeling kind of excited today because I had a shoulder injury and I haven't been able to go exercise for over a month as I tried to recover. So I'm excited because I get to go back to the gym today, and I finally got the green light to go back to the gym. I'm not excited about this weather. I'm gonna flip this camera. It was 75 degrees here and sunny yesterday. Now there's snow everywhere. Crazy, man. Crazy. But what for is to give a quick description of how I feel about current witnesses and people who are in the organization right now, because I've been seeing some videos that kind of concern me. To me, the people who are witnesses right now and who are in the organization are victims. They have been lied to, they've been misled, they've been manipulated. They're victims. And I feel like making fun of them, calling them stupid, calling them dumb, saying they have no sense, is victim shaming. And I think it'd be no different than, it's kind of like, an abusive relationship. This happens to be an abusive relationship where a corporation is at the head and they are the abuser. But if it were two people, and if a person was abusing another person, I don't think it'd be right to go to the person being abused and say, you're so stupid for being abused. You're so stupid for believing them. You're so stupid for letting them put their hands on you, for letting them, hit you, for whatever the case may be. The victim is not the person who is in the wrong. The victim, for whatever reason, is a person who has been wronged. So if we were at war and me and 5 other guys were captured and now we're POWs, right? And we're in a POW camp, and then I find a way to escape the POW camp and get out. I'm not going to come back and make fun of the other 4 people or the other 5 people still in the POW camp and say how weak they are because they didn't escape. They're victims. I need to find a way to help them, not find a way to ridicule them. So to me, that doesn't make sense. It's one of the reasons too that I don't really like the hall crashing. When the halls actually had people when they were open, I'm not really a big fan of that. To me, it's just kind of like, you want to be, if it were a radio show, you want to be a shock jock, right? You want to bring shock value. But as far as getting a message across, it's really not doing much there. I'm much more a fan of compassion, letting people know that there's others out there that can help them, letting people know that they're not alone. Current witnesses who may have those doubts in their mind, and a lot of them do, they're scared to explore some of those thoughts because, like I've said in other videos, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? They're going to lose their entire life, especially if they've been in it all their life, if they were raised in it and everything. So to me, it is much more important and much more beneficial to show people compassion, to understand that people who are witnesses, who are currently in the organization, are victims. And they may not even know it. A lot of victims don't know that they're victims until they're able to step away and see things from a different perspective with a clear mind. So I think it's important to understand, what a person goes through. I know a lot of people. I happen to be fortunate. I have a network of people who are former witnesses, who we are good friends still. Some of them I grew up with. Some of them I came to know later in life, after I was out of the organization. But I think part of the reason that you kind of group up with those types of individuals and that you have those long-term friendships, for me at least, is because that's kind of your village. That's your village that you come from. A lot of times from the time we're young, sometimes until we're very old, we're looking for our village. We're looking for our people. And that doesn't have anything to do with race. That has to do with people who are of the same mindset and who see the world the same way as you do. So when you are born into the Jehovah's Witness organization, you are given a village and you're told this is your village. This is how you're supposed to think. This is how you're supposed to act. This is how you're supposed to behave. You don't really have a choice in the matter. And so that's probably the hardest part for a lot of people who are still in and have doubts, physically in, mentally out, have doubts, want to leave, but then they're going to lose their entire village. And it is a daunting task to try to find a new village and create a new village, because you feel like you're alone. You feel like your family's not going to talk to you. Your friends aren't going to talk to you. You're going to be basically left out in the cold. Sometimes literally left out in the cold, kicked out of a house or whatever, losing your job or whatever. So that doesn't make you stupid. That makes you human, and that makes you a victim. And to have faith in something also doesn't make you stupid. We have an internal hunger, people do, to believe in something greater than ourselves. So whether that be, Jehovah, whether that be some other deity, whether you think you're going to go to heaven when you die, whether you think you're going to live on a paradise earth, whether you think you're going to be reincarnated, regardless of who you think created the earth, whether you think it was one deity, multiple deities, aliens, whatever you think happened, even people who are agnostic and aren't sure what happened, they leave open that possibility that, maybe there is an explanation for things. People who are atheists still have an understanding of how things happen. They happen in a natural fashion with science, and things came together. Chemical compounds came together in the right way at the right time. So they even have an understanding of where they came from. But we still, as people, have this hunger inside of us to want something more. We don't want to think that death is it. And so different people prey upon that hunger in different ways. It could be, a minister leading a big mega church. In the case of Jehovah's Witnesses, it's an entire organization. So it's, obviously with the governing body at the head now, instead of one individual, the governing body knows that people have that hunger, and they know that people want to believe and want to follow something. And so they're giving them that option to follow. And people want to believe, so I know I did it, when I was going, and as I grew older, I know I would take those doubts and you kind of just ball them up and you say, nah, let me just put that to the side. Why am I doubting this? And then you weigh your pros and your cons, just like any decision that you make in life. You weigh your pros and your cons, whether you know that you're doing it. Some people go literally, I try on any big decision I'm going to make, in business or anything, I literally will go write down my pros and cons for any decision now. And that way I can physically look at them, and visualize, how my lists look, for any big decision, buying a new house, business, expanding, anything. But people do that without even realizing that that's what they're doing sometimes. And they're weighing, okay, if I stay and just put these things to the side, I keep my family, I keep my friends, I keep my village. But if I leave and say, forget this, I follow my intuition that I know is telling me this is not right. If I leave, I lose all of it. Which makes more sense for my mental stability, for my happiness, for my life. And in a lot of cases, it makes more sense to stay in. It makes more sense to take those thoughts and push them to the back and just keep the path, stay on the path that you're on. It makes more sense. And I get that. So for current witnesses that are in, I feel compassion for them. I don't, and again, I'm talking about not the governing body, not the head of the organization, not the leadership that's passing these things down and preying on people. I'm talking about the average everyday witness, that believes in their heart, because of the manipulation, that they are making a decision to save themselves, to save their family, to save strangers, to, whatever they believe they're doing. A lot of them in their heart feel that way, and feel that they're doing what's right. So to me, it just doesn't make sense to come to a victim and chastise them for being a victim. Different people come to their decisions at different times and at different stages in their life, and maybe they never do. I've spoke about my mother many times. She's still a witness, and still right now, she's retired, but she still is on the phone and emailing and doing whatever, trying to make sure she's still witnessing to people. But we've had a lot of conversations about it, but she'll probably never leave, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, her leaving would be giving up her world, her village. So just think about that, and think about the fact that it's not easy for people to just walk away from everything that they know, walk away from their life, walk away from the people they love, and say, I'm going to fight for truth. It's not easy. That's probably the hardest decision that a lot of people would ever make in their entire life, to make that decision and walk away. Personally, where I am in my stage in life now, I couldn't see me being in and faking it. Now I couldn't see it. I'm just too blunt with my thoughts, and with what I do with my beliefs. I just couldn't see faking it now. But there's been a time in my life when I did, when I had those doubts and I had those thoughts, and I still faked it. And then eventually I ended up kind of leading a double life, and it made my transition now, maybe it sounds bad, but it made my transition away fairly easy, because I already had witness friends who was out doing crazy stuff, so I was able to even keep some of my witness friends, as I made my way away, and as they made their way away. Some of them stayed in, but it's not that easy for a lot of people, and I know that the rules now, from what I hear, are a lot more strict than they were even when I was in. I haven't been to a Kingdom Hall in, probably 20 years, something like that. So I know a lot of things have changed, but I just ask anyone that sees this video to understand that these people who are still in, we need to have compassion for them. Even the people who, maybe if you're out and they're still in and they're shunning you, have compassion for them too, because in their heart, some of them really believe what they're doing is best for you, because they believe if they do that, out of your love for them and your love for your other loved ones, you will come back, and that will force you to do that. Now, obviously, that doesn't make sense. It's cold. It's not loving. It doesn't make sense to me or to you, to someone on the outside of it looking in. But keep in mind, these people have been manipulated. They've been fed propaganda for years upon years upon years. And when you're fed enough propaganda and kept inside of a bubble, you start to believe it to be fact. And it's not so easy to walk away from that propaganda and from everything that you know. So understand that maybe those people will change in time, but they're victims. They're victims. And now, not every witness is a victim, but most are. Most average witnesses that you see on the street are a victim of manipulation, of propaganda, of being misled, of fraud. With literally what I consider like real estate fraud has occurred with a lot of things. But they're victims. The problem should be with the organization's head, with the leadership, with the ones who are passing these things down, who are controlling all of these different individuals, all these different financial arms, and benefiting the most from it. That's who the problem's with. The problem isn't with the average witness that's going to the kingdom home believes in their heart they are saving their family, and they're doing what God wants them to do. They've got to study. You got to keep in mind too, all they're fed is very specific pieces of knowledge that the Watchtower decides they're allowed to read from. So pieces of knowledge that now we have and we can go gain, they don't even have access to that because they're told they can't look at that. Videos that we know we can go and get help from, they are told you can't. So they're being fed a very small stream of propaganda and told that everyone's against them, and then given scriptures that supposedly back that up. So they're in the trenches. They're dug in. They're in the trenches, and they believe they're fighting a fight that God wants them to fight, even though we can have additional knowledge and additional perspective, and we can look from a different area down upon the situation and see what's really going on. When you're in the trenches, you don't see that. All you see is your world around you. You see your reality around you. So I just ask people, before you want to try to embarrass witnesses or call witnesses names or go after the common everyday witness, especially if you were a witness at one time, just remember you were a victim then. When you were a witness, you were a victim then. You are now free of it, but you're still a victim in a lot of ways. Some people still are dealing with a lot of the emotional distress that comes from being a victim for however long you were there. You're dealing with this still. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real, I believe, with some JWs. I believe it's very real, and they're still dealing with it in different ways. But keep in mind, just like you were a victim then, some of them are a victim now. And the way we help a victim now is not to put them down, not to ridicule them, call them stupid, call them dumb. Let's give them support. Let's let them know that there is a community out here that can help them. Anyone out there that sees this video, or if you know someone that does, anyone can reach out to me. I'll put my email address in the comments of this video. You can email me. I'll give you my phone number. I'll talk to anyone. Like I said, I have a large network of people who used to be witnesses that I'm very close with. You're not alone. You can come join our village. You know what I mean? You're not alone. I got your back. Anybody. So people don't know that when they're in, though, and they think they'll be all alone. So just have some compassion and be aware of that. Keep in mind that because you're free and you took your path doesn't mean other people are ready yet, or doesn't mean other people know the way out yet. They're stuck. They're victims. Let's take care of our victims. If you got family that's in, let's show them some compassion. If you have friends that are in, even if they're shunning you, understand they know not what they do. You know what I mean? Show some compassion. Think about others. Support each other. Anyone who's in or out, if you need someone to talk to, if you feel like you're alone, if you feel like there's no one out there that understands, I'm telling you, your village is out here. Your village is out here. And like I said at the beginning, we spend our life trying to find our village. Some people, it takes a long time in life to get there. But when you feel like that's your village and people of that mindset are your village, it's hard to move on. And I get it, because there still are things that my former witness friends and I can conversate about that others wouldn't understand. We have different language we can use, with circuit assemblies, district assemblies, what took place at the memorial, different things with the elders and at the meetings. We have a different understanding and different lingo and a whole nother set of circumstances that we grew up in, that we have an understanding of, that someone that didn't grow up in that doesn't understand. So it's like you have a different foundation. So sometimes you can feel like if you step out, now everyone around you is just people who, at one time you would have considered quote unquote worldly. You feel like their view on life is different. Even their view on holidays and things like that can be different. So I'm telling you, your village is out here. You know, if you don't know where to go, if you don't know where to start, there's people out here who can help you, and are interested in making sure that you know that it doesn't have to be that bad for you. You know, so that's all. I just, you know, some videos I've been watching been kind of bothering me a little bit, and I just wanted to make that video. If you need help, if you know someone who does, reach out. You know, I'm always here for anybody. All right, y'all have a good day.